One of the first things you have to do when you're commissioning a ventilation system is to make sure all doors are shut. The next thing we'll do is to check the 10mm gap underneath the door. It's a 10mm gap when you've got a finished floor, but you need a 20mm gap for an unfinished floor. Measuring the doors is simple. You just get a tape measure or a ruler and put it up against the door. As this is a finished floor, we're looking for a 10mm gap under all the internal doors. This one's slightly over 10mm, so we're good to go. Again, if it wasn't a finished floor, just the concrete underneath before it's laid, we'd be looking for 20mm. Now we're going to check the trickle vents. Every room should have the right amount of trickle vent in them. These are usually placed on the window. If you check the architect's drawings, it'll tell you how much should be in that room. This you have to log down on your record sheet so that it can pass the regulations. In this room, we've got 2 trickle vents. Let's make sure they're open. We open these vents so when the fans are extracting, air can get into the property. If they were kept shut, you couldn't extract any air. They've also got a free surface area marked on them, which needs to be recorded. This one is 6,000 square millimeters. We'll record these measurements and put them on the paperwork. When you get to site, there's a few things that you can do very quickly. Visual inspection. If possible, try and check the ductwork. Go up in the loft, have a little look round. Is it installed correctly? Are the joints bent correctly? Is there any crushed pipes up there? Are they using the right sealing method for that type of ducting? Rigid ducting should use a non-hardling sealant. If you're connecting flexible ducting to rigid ducting, you should use a duct clamp. Otherwise, use what the manufacturer of the ducting recommends. Some duct systems come with a seal. You should use that. Is there suitable access to get to all these things, to get to the fans? If you can't get to them to measure them, you can't get to them to clean them. You can't pass a house if it's like that. Look at the external vents. Where they go through and penetrate the outside air barrier of the building, they should be sealed to it, not letting air go through. Go and have a look. Is there a gap? There shouldn't be. Also within the property, if there's any vertical ducting, you might want to use a condensation trap. In the condensation trap, there's a gutter built in. This collects the condensation and it runs out through the hole at the bottom, which connects to standard 22mm drain pipe. When you're looking at the ducting, if there is flexible ducting, it should be pulled to 90% of its full length, like this, not like this. Any ducting outside the heated envelope should be insulated. A full set of drawings from the architect would also be useful, so you can see the trickle vent size, where the fans are supposed to be positioned, and what square millimeterage free surface area the trickle vents have. Last but not least, do you have the relevant clothing to wear when you go on site? Today we will be using the powered airflow meter, which complies with the preferred method of on-site airflow measurement, commonly known as the unconditional method, as noted in the NHBC and BISRA ventilation guides. This device should be calibrated by a UCAS accredited centre and be calibrated to within plus or minus 5%. These certificates must be within 12 months. If the unit is outside of the 12-month period it was calibrated, you cannot use it. It should also be calibrated to within plus or minus 5%. We need to calibrate the powered airflow meter. This is easy. We just wind it down to the calibration setting, press the button. It's now calibrating itself to any hood that we put on it. Now we're going into the WC. This will need 6 litres per second. We get the meter, it's on measurement. Seal around the ceiling, press the button, and let's see what we get. We got a reading there of 7.4 litres a second. This conforms to building regulations. We'll log it down and we can carry on to the next room. We're now in the family bathroom. When we measure this, we're going to need a minimum of 15 litres a second. As you can see, the fan's already running. This should be done because it loosens the bearings up and it's actually working how it would in reality. So now we go to the measurement. We go to the measurement feature. We then put the instrument to the fan, press the button, and wait for it to do a reading. That's not bad, that's 18.4. That will pass. Now we go on to the ensuite in the master bedroom. This being a bathroom, again, we only need 15 litres a second. Okay, let's take the measurement. Again, place it on the ceiling, seal round, press the button. Here we go, we're taking a measurement. Okay, in this room we've got 16.3 litres a second. Again, we're over the 15 litre line. We can record it and carry on. Okay, here's the cooker hood. Cooker hood should be positioned between 650 and 750 millimetres above the surface of the hob. Also, because this is above the cooker, we can test it for 30 litres a second. If it was not adjacent to the cooker, right over that side or that side of the kitchen, we would have to test and it would have to do 60 litres a second. We've actually been very lucky here. We've just got one central extract point. We can use the standard sealing point on this powered flow meter. If you couldn't, and it was the whole surface area this you had to check, you could make your own hood up. As I previously said, this calibrates itself to your surroundings and whatever hood you have on it. You could also check the outside grille if you can't check the hood. This is another way of reading. You still have to seal this around the outside of the building, but you can do it that way as well. We can use the standard end of this instrument. We've already had the fan running previously, so let's switch it on. Same procedure, we seal it round the one central extract in this case. We press the button and we wait for a reading.
A bespoke hood could be as simple as utilising a bin bag. Cut the sealed end off, then position one end around the extract and the other around the powered flow meter, ensuring these joints are airtight.
That's given us 38 litres a second. We're fine. We can carry on. Okay, now we're in the utility room. In this room, we need to get 30 litres a second out of the fan. Let's give it a test. Okay, that's 30.4. We've got all the measurements we need. We can put them down on the paperwork and get them sent off to building control. We've now completed the commissioning of the ventilation system within this house. We've got all of our readings and we need to put these down on the relevant paperwork and get it off to building control. As a registered NIC/EIC competent domestic ventilation installer, I can now register those findings online at the NIC/EIC and they will forward them on to building control for me. All the procedures we've used today are laid out in the Building Regulations Approved Document F and the Domestic Ventilation Compliance Guide. Should anything fail at any point during this procedure, you cannot proceed and you should fail the property. Any errors found should be brought to the attention of the builder and should be rectified before the system is rechecked. Happy commissioning.